Hey, what's up everybody? It's Leeds, and we're back for some more Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer, taking requests from you all in chat when it comes to our characters, weapons, enemies, and arenas. And generally, just doing whatever it is you guys want to do, if that means Apex missions, or Prestige, dailies, some combination of those things, or none of the above. That's totally fine. Suppose we can take a look at what those prestige dailies are for today, and it would be Gold Icebreaker. I mean, that's certainly doable. It doesn't really require that we go that far out of our way. Yeah, we're playing on gold fairly often, and Icebreaker is nothing against the map. What's up? What's up, Sultan? How are you? Let's see. As for the Apex missions, is there any overlap there? Ooh. Flat on 0 against Outlaw. There's definitely some potential for that to be nasty, depending on what objectives we get. Dampened powers, it certainly could be worse. So from a modifier standpoint, it's not that bad. But the enemy in Arena has just a humongous RNG range to it. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see, for the gold, it's hand-to-hand. It's the melee one. Again, Outlaw. In this case, it's Paradox. It would have been convenient if this was on Icebreaker, that we could double or even triple dip for the Prestige Daily. And, I mean, once you start getting down to the Bronze and Silvers, generally, I think for those, there's considerably less interest. Like, none of these are on Icebreaker either, so yeah, I mean, unless anyone is particularly interested in going this route, it's probably something we'd pass on, but to be determined. Let me hop into Discord before I forget, because that is something I should do before we actually initiate our first match here. And let me know if there's anyone who would like to tag along here with me, just getting an overview of what our potential options might be, the things we might want to target. But ultimately, we could do some, all, or none of those things, so whatever works for you guys. We don't have anyone immediately ready to go, then could potentially just see what we can join here, just see if there are any platinum lobbies, and then continuously go lower as time goes on. But we're not going to load into this lobby successfully anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But Sultan, you are good to go. You are interested. All right, well, in that case, why don't we do just that? Maybe I'll make a private. Oh no. Did we end up? Right. We friended each other on Steam, but not on the EA app. So you do need to search to find me, right? So I'll make a lobby for the Plat Apex. I'll make it public. That way, you should be able to search and find me through a public lobby searching method. Theoretically. For Andromeda, it might work. What if we... Let's see. We can open this up. But I don't think we friended each other, right? I was under the assumption that that was not going to be possible. But I could be wrong. Maybe for some reason that was only the case for ME3, but not for Andromeda? I don't know. If you'd like to try just searching for the Platinum Apex mission, you may be able to find me that way, and that might be more straightforward. What's up, Dalton? How's it going? We're just getting started today. We're just figuring out who is interested and available and getting people in. And so if you'd like to join us, you're welcome to do so. Up to you. Not actually established what we're going to do for our first few matches here yet. We just, at the moment, I have it set for the Plat Apex mission in large part because that's generally the easiest way to search for a public lobby. So, in Legendary Edition, no, because Legendary Edition, unfortunately, well, first of all, Legendary Edition is for the original trilogy, does not include Andromeda, but they also, unfortunately, did not add the multiplayer to Legendary Edition, so we do still play both Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer, but for Mass Effect 3 we have to do it on the original game, not on Legendary Edition, in order to get access to the multiplayer, if that makes any sense. Well, no worries, Sultan. I'm still here, and if the power is back, then we can potentially still get you in. Or anyone else, for that matter. I assume that since you're in chat right now, that the power is back, although maybe you're on your phone. Maybe not? I don't know. Yeah, Dalton, have you... I mean, based on asking that question, I assume you've played at least the campaign before, or at least the original trilogy. But have you done multiplayer at all, or have you only done the single-player campaign? Oh, on your phone now, Sultan. Okay, so the power may not be back in that case. Alright, perhaps, at least just to start things off here, I'll just hop into a random existing lobby that someone else is running, and that way we can get into the action, and if people need a little bit more time before they are ready to join, then that is fine. We're gonna find same situation. Yeah, probably. Okay. Not loading into that properly. What about on gold? Perhaps. Oh! That's an old friend, in fact. Someone I used to play a lot of matches with, and I haven't played any matches with them in over a year, maybe even 2 years at this point. This is the daily they're doing. Okay, let's just hop in. Could take 10 minutes, could take 2 hours. Can't really say. Play in Andromeda right now. You finished 1, 2, and 3 a long time ago, but oh. Never the multiplayer. Well, the game did just crash, which is lovely. So I'm a huge fan of that. Hopefully, we can quickly boot it back up and maybe even get straight back into that same lobby. As I said, I was kind of excited about seeing a familiar face there. But then it was taken away from us. But you never did the multiplayer for any of them, for either ME3 or for Andromeda. In both cases, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I think ME3, I would argue, is better than Andromeda, but I think they're both certainly at least worth checking out. We have played them both quite a bit. Just a heads up that they're, technically speaking, could be slight spoilers in the multiplayer, at least when it comes to the types of enemies that we face. So I don't know how far along you are, or how sensitive you are to spoilers. Okay, this is the same group. Can we actually join them this time? That's the question. Yeah, if you are not very far along and or you are particularly wary of spoilers, just I warn you now that you may see some enemies you have not yet seen, and therefore may not be to your liking for this reason. Why you bought Legendary Edition, but right, unfortunately you would need to get the original ME3 in order to get access to the multiplayer. Fortunately, it's an old enough game that it is generally less expensive than the Legendary Edition, and or it goes on sale and you can potentially get it at a pretty low price.
One target.
But obviously it is still an additional game that you would have to buy, which is unfortunate. And it definitely does feel like they should have added the multiplayer to the Legendary Edition. So if you're thinking, well, I don't know, that seems pretty unreasonable. You know, I do get that. But I will say, it is a lot of fun. You almost just think of it as, well, it's a separate game, and I'm gaining access to features I would not have otherwise have had access to. It basically is another game. And I would argue one that is probably still worth the price, but obviously that is all a matter of perspective. Yeah, right? I thought it did go on sale pretty often, Sultan. I think that's right. So, especially if you're willing to be a little bit patient and wait for it to go on sale, I would think at that point it would be a pretty big deal. But again, it's all relative and it's all a matter of preference and perspective and all that, so ultimately, that is of course your decision to make. That fiend is just hanging out. He was just standing there doing nothing when I jumped down there. It's like, is it a statue? And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, that sounds interesting, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I'd rather not have to commit to that when I'm not sure. Also totally understandable. I will note, on that front, that we have... What number are we on now? Over 600 Mass Effect 3 multiplayer videos and over 100 Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer videos. So if you want to just see what it's like, you have no shortage of footage, of video, that you can look at just what it's like. I just have a better sense of what you might potentially be purchasing. Again, totally up to you. Maybe you just don't like multiplayer games.
They're firing.
That's cool. That's fair.
How are my shields down?
Just 3 hostiles remaining. That hurt them. Be ready.
But even this JWWJ person, have I seen that before as well? This Leopard Shark is the one who he's one of, for me, the OGs. Like when I was starting off playing this game on multiplayer for the first time, he was among the 2 or 3 people who would often play with me, who was the one who was carrying me when I was just a little noob. Also the fact that it is getting backup support fire from now also an Ascendant. First I was just thinking about the Anointed. That was one thing. So long to get rid of the Fiend.
Upload complete.
The
Good job,
Anointed had
Apex.
plenty of opportunity to shoot me, but then the Ascendant showed up. Okay, well this is definitely not that so straightforward anymore. It's okay, we've successfully ring around the rosy our way through that situation. Power's back on. Nice.
Shuttle incoming. Get to the extraction zone.
And in that case, it's good timing, because we're about to wrap up this mission. Might be a fiend behind me right now. Vaguely recall thinking that I saw one out of the corner of my eye. So definitely trying to shoot. Please stop doing that when I'm trying to shoot him. It makes him fall on the ground and then it becomes very difficult to aim. That's okay. Bye-bye. I thought you were an enemy for a second. Not gonna lie. That enemy is floating?
They're firing.
Were they not? Were they standing on top of that, maybe? It really looked like they were just straight up floating in midair. Ow. Oh, so that's who's shooting. I knew that. Ow.
Shields out.
No!
Squad member down.
I just needed someone to energy drain and it would not show me anyone.
Mission complete. Full team
There we go.
here. Good work.
Potentially? Not sure where you're going with this. This would be the gold apex. I don't know if Sultan or anyone else is interested and available in getting in at this stage, in which case we may very well branch off into our own group. Game audio is a lot louder. Let me see if... Hold on. Is it louder than usual? Did I accidentally turn it up? It's actually quieter than usual. What the heck? Huh. I can certainly do that. Just wondering what the deal is there, because that shouldn't be louder than usual. Okay, I've just switched some things around. Technically, my just master computer audio was actually lower than usual. I have no idea how that factors in to have the way that it treats the recordings on stream. I just generally try to keep it on the same number just in case. So that I actually bumped that number up, but I did reduce the volume, the master volume in game. So admittedly, I'm not sure how those two things are going to balance out, but it may or may not be better now. Let me know. No, it may also just be that there's part of it is just sort of a human thing of occasionally I'm sitting further away from the microphone, and even if I'm speaking the same volume as usual, it may mean that, it's not quite picking me up as loud as it usually would for that reason. I'm also fiddling with the pop filter right now, and it is potentially bumping the microphone and making little obnoxious noises, for which I'm sorry. Okay, I think these guys are ready to go, so maybe Andromeda is just loud. That might be it. So yeah, I did try bumping it down a little bit, and maybe that'll help. Alright, I think I'm gonna hop in with this group for one more match here, just because they seem to be chomping at the metaphorical bit. And we can also, I suppose, take this as an opportunity to test the volume. But if anyone would like to join for the next one after this, then just let me know. Did I throw on a melee booster? I was thinking about it, and I may have started opening up the screen for it, but I may have gotten distracted, and now I don't remember if I actually did it or not. It is the melee boosting Apex mission, which will help in that regard, but obviously I like to have both those things. So yeah, let me know if this sounds any better or worse. It may be that functionally the various sliders that I adjusted canceled each other out. So on net, it may not have actually made much of a difference, but we shall see. Oh, hold on. No, you don't get to punch me. I'm the one doing the melee stuff.
Just 3 hostiles remaining. Enemies down.
Not for long. How do I play with you? When you play the campaign, choose some mission-specific stuff in the ship. It sends me to multiplayer. So there's some levels, just on the very beginning of multiplayer. Okay, so once we're out of this match, I can much more easily walk you through some of the basics there. So if you give us about 10 minutes or so, if that's all right, I will gladly talk you through it. Because you're right that it is basically a totally different game mode. There is some overlap, because basically if you do certain missions in multiplayer, you can get little bonuses in the campaign. And so that's what it sort of teases. What is the deal with this guy? Why? What the heck? Was I not headbutting this agent repeatedly and nothing was happening, to the point where I legitimately was questioning whether it was a bug and I was just completely seeing imaginary enemies? 'Cause even if it was the fake agent, First of all, those look different, and it definitely wasn't a fake one. But even if it was,
Nice job, Apex. Keep it
he
going.
would have disappeared relatively quickly after getting hit. So yeah, if you go to the main menu, it should have an option for multiplayer there. So that's probably the most straightforward way to get into the multiplayer. So I'd say you can start with that. And there are obviously several different menus and options once you do get into the multiplayer section. So if you'd like, you can start browsing around a bit there, but I can walk and talk you through it a little bit more once we're out of this match. Big picture though, yes, it is an basically entirely separate game mode outside of the whole thing I was mentioning about how you can get some little bonuses in the campaign from doing specific missions in the multiplayer. In the multiplayer, as you can start to see here, it's cooperative, so we are teaming up with up to 3 other people here.
3 more to go.
We have individual scores, so from that standpoint, yes,
Nice job.
it's not really
Apex. Keep
like
it
we're
going.
competing against each other, but if you really wanted to, I guess that's a way you could do it. But for the most part, we're teaming up together to take down waves of enemies. As you can see, it just changed to a new wave. And so once you take down a certain number of enemies, the wave will end. We'll move on to the next wave. And as you progress, the waves become increasingly difficult. So generally that means the types of enemies that you encounter, they will become stronger as time goes on. Then every few waves, we have an objective, which we don't have right now, but we did have in the previous wave. You may have noticed it looked a little bit different. There was a glowing green circle on the ground that we were generally standing in. That guy is T-posing without an arm. No, do you see his arm right now? Tell me you see what is his left arm. That is nightmare fuel. That's T-posing on a different level. This is nightmare fuel. Okay, thank goodness it's gone now. You can open your eyes, it's okay.
Enemies clear. Stay alert.
The dislocated shoulder T-posing raider is gone now. He can't hurt you anymore.
Hostiles en route.
But anyways, there are objectives every few waves. And on those objective waves, you must complete that specific objective. There are a few different types of things that it randomly rotates between that objective might entail. But then, once you have completed the objective, after that, it goes back to being just like a normal wave. We just Nova in midair? I mean, I initiated it in midair, but I didn't expect it to proc while we were still floating. And so in Andromeda, there are 7 waves in a full match. So you can see right now we're on wave 5, so soon to be wave 6. We're nearly at the end of the match, getting relatively close.
We're tracking reinforcements.
And so if you do make it to the end of the match, like, okay, this is an objective wave. See, it says hack. That's one of the random objectives it can rotate between from one wave to the next. It is the same type that we had before, and it entails having one or more people standing in this circle on the ground. If that is the case, then it turns green, and that means that bar in the top right corner that says hack progress, that should start moving. But then you'll see for a brief moment there, when that enemy walked into the circle turned orange. So if there are any enemies in that area, then that actually means that our progress halts. And we have to either take down those enemies or we need them to get out of the circle in order for our progress to continue. Like right now, once again, for a second there, it was orange, because the bar was not progressing. That's the case now, again, for a very brief moment, but the more of our teammates we have in here, the quicker that bar goes. So there we go. Got that one taken care of without too much trouble. But if, for whatever reason, you fail the objective, like in that case, if we ran out of time, we did not fill out that hack progress bar, then it would be a mission failed. And likewise, if everyone on our team goes down, that would also be a mission failed. The way we win is by completing those objectives and taking down enough enemies to progress all the way to the final wave, as we have now done. We are on wave 7. That is the last wave, and you see in the top right corner, it says prepare for extraction. That's a countdown, that's a timer, and when the timer hits 0, we have to be in that circle, which is where we loaded in initially, and it's where we will leave at the end of the match as well. So we want to have, ideally, everyone on the team be in that circle at the very end, and that way we get the maximum amount of credit for completing the mission. We do still succeed if we have at least one person in the circle, but we technically get a little bit more experience for our characters and credits for unlocking equipment from the shop based on the number of people who make it out. And so that's where the more RPG elements come in. It's not just the direct combat and gameplay, but once we're back in the menus outside of the match, we can switch between characters, we can see how much experience we've gained on those characters and use the levels that we've gained to allocate powers, much like you would in the campaign. And with the credits that you earn from completing matches, you can pick up what are, yes, loot boxes from the shop to unlock additional weapons and other gear. Okay, so now you see, okay, we're getting close to the extraction timer, so we're going to make more of a point of hanging out here because we want to make sure we are in this circle. Once that timer reaches 0, hopefully other teammates will as well. And there we go. Full extraction. Everyone made it out.
No shields.
And that means the mission was a success. So then once you're done with the mission, you'll get a quick little synopsis, a summary, a report of how people did. So this is where, technically, if you wanna get really competitive with it, you could say, oh, well, oh, Lids, apparently you weren't scoring very much in this one. Maybe it was because you were exclusively headbutting enemies the entire match and never fired your weapon once. Yeah, that might have had something to do with it. And then you get little badges that just mark what particular things you did to contribute toward the team effort in that match. Like, as I said, in my case, I did a whole bunch of melee, as did other people. There are other things like getting biotic kills or contributing toward objectives, assists, generic kills, all that stuff. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this lobby now, in part because we may have other people who are looking to join now, and also in part because the person who I was looking forward to playing with, who I hadn't played with for a while, just left that group. So okay, if you load it into the multiplayer, it should look something like this. And basically, the character selection is where you, as you might imagine, pick whatever character you'd like to have. You should start off with all of these characters here. The ones that have a small little brown circle around them. They're all human characters. They are the common characters, the base human characters, if you will. So basically you get a human of each of the various classes, the Sentinels, the Engineers, the Infiltrators, the Adepts, the Vanguards, and the Soldiers. So you can pick whichever one of them you'd like to play as, and as you can see from the little preview here, each character has a specific set of powers that they can use. So it's a little different from the campaign in that way. The campaign, with the main character, Ryder, as you know, you can pick basically any combination of powers you want, whereas in the multiplayer, you are limited to whatever options there are for that specific character, which is why it is potentially meaningful to unlock additional characters so that you can gain access to new combinations that you might not have otherwise been able to use. And your characters will start off at level 1, of course, and as you play matches, you'll gain experience, and in doing so, gain levels, which will give you powers that are points you can use to upgrade the powers of your character. Here, I'll go to the character customization screen to show you that. And if you go to, there are a few things you can do here. Loadout would be your weapon, which again, you'll start off with fairly basic things here, but over time, you can unlock more stuff to get stronger in that regard. Consumables, these are basically little boosters that for one match can make you stronger in any of a number of ways, depending on what you opt to go for there. You have up to two that you can use if you'd like. And then this is the probably more significant part, the skills page, where you can spend whatever points you might have for your character on whatever powers are available to that character. Then once you've done that, you can either do quick match to find someone else's lobby that they have created, or you can use a custom match to either create one for yourself or join one with more specific parameters in mind. So you can specify which of the arenas you're interested in playing at, what difficulty, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Obviously, they get progressively more difficult depending on which one you do, although the higher difficulties are more rewarding, both from an experience and also from a credits standpoint. And then there are 3 categories of enemies that you can choose between as well. Yeah, if you have a Krogan unlocked, you can certainly use that. There are, 2 DLCs for the multiplayer, I think? Each of which gives you an additional starting character. One might be a Krogan, which is perhaps why you got one there. The other one, I'm forgetting if it's the Turian soldier or if it's a Solarian infiltrator. Maybe one of those. Something like that. So yeah, whatever character you'd like. Then what I will do is I will make a lobby, and if there's anyone who is interested in joining us, then you can hop into our lobby, and there are a couple ways we can potentially do that, but let me just start by making one here. Let's see. I'm gonna set it for the most difficult mission. Don't be alarmed. That is only tentative, temporary. There's a reason I'm doing this, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. So, do we have anyone who is interested in getting in here? I know, Sultan, you were saying you potentially were interested earlier, then your power went out, but now it's back, and so if you'd like to get in, we could get you here. Or anyone else, for that matter. In fact, maybe we just immediately go to trying. Okay, well, I do have it private at the moment, so let me make it public so that now it is possible for you to search and find this lobby that I have created. And if you search for any of those things that you see on the right there, Firebase 0, Outlaw, Platinum, that's probably the easiest way to find me right now, or actually, if you go to a custom search and you go for this perform a surgical strike, that is the most precise way to search for me. There are people who play Andromeda multiplayer. It is not as popular as Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. So it is a little bit harder to find a group of people, and it may depend on what difficulty you're looking to play on. And potentially what time of day you're looking to play on. Does it happen to be when a lot of people are doing stuff, or is it not? Need to finish a dungeon in WoW first. No worries, no worries. The other thing is, if there are people in chat who are thinking, ooh, that sounds interesting, but I'm not available right now, or I would be interested, but as some people were just saying, I don't know if realistically there are going to be people available when I would be interested in doing all that stuff. Well, have no fear, because there is a Discord that it's not my Discord, but I am pretty active in it. So it's not a self-plug, I swear. But if you're looking for a group of people to play Mass Effect multiplayer, whether it be Mass Effect 3 multiplayer or Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer, you can join this Discord here, and it is a community that is dedicated specifically to that, and people are really nice in it as well. Obviously, it's a group of people who are generally very big fans of Mass Effect. Let's see. N7 Squad Discord. There you go. That is the link if anyone is interested in checking it out. Again, I think the particularly helpful things about that are, if you are looking for more people to play with, and or you're interested but just not looking to play right now, then that's a great way to, oh hey, you know, I want to, in a day or two, I want to take a closer look at that and see if I can find anyone who might be interested. And in general as well, I'd say people are quite flexible when it comes to whatever difficulty you might want to play on in that Discord. If you're just starting out, you want to keep it simple, start on bronze, or you want to go crazy and hop straight into plat, then I think either way, people are quite accommodating. What's up, Itachi? How's it going? We do have room, if you would like to join me here. Or anyone else, for that matter. as it currently stands, it is just me. Sultan is trying to get in here, but it's not working out so well right now. He's debating joining, but feeling a little sleepy. Well, I mean, nothing like, what, getting surprise grabbed by an Audi through a wall and glitching through that wall to get the blood flowing, right? Wake you up a little bit. Sultan. So can you... Sultan, are you even able to try... Oh! I was about to ask if you were even able to send me a friend request. There we go. The answer to that is clearly yes. Banshee, well... Better at jump scaring from the standpoint of, yeah, it's gonna kill you. Whereas, that's probably not the case for an Audi unless you're on glass jaw, in which case it is truly the single most terrifying experience in existence. However, the Audi, something about the camera angle change when you go the Audi route, where it just zooms in right up in the Audi's face, and especially when it does that thing when the camera kind of glitches out and it's shaking really fast, like it's a horror movie. I think that may have the Banshee beat. Oh, Itachi's on the way. Okay, in that case, I think what I will do, I will make it private here to reserve this last spot, and Itachi, I will get you in via an invite. It looks like you might be ready to go. Oh, and I suppose that other person has since left, so we theoretically would have room for one more person if there is anyone else who would be interested. Oh, there we go. Okay, Itachi's in. Sultan is in. So yeah, we have one more spot if anyone else is interested. I suppose at this stage I could just make it public again if people would like. And that way, it's maybe a little bit easier to just wander in. Yeah, no worries. Dalton, if you... I mean, that's about how long it takes to do a match. So, it could just be that we'll get you in for the next one, and the timing will work out pretty well then. Is there anything in particular we would like to do for this match? As it currently stands, we have it set up for the Plat Apex, which may or may not be something that we are looking to do right now. Tachi says Plat. Yeah, I would say, again, if you're looking to try out Andromeda multiplayer today, awesome. Look forward to getting you in, hoping that you like it, but I definitely would encourage you to try checking out the ME3. I know, obviously, you have the Andromeda already, and you'd have to pick up the OG ME3, but again, I'd argue it's worth it, but alas, we shall see. So, Itachi, you say Plat. Are you up for the Plat Apex, specifically? It'd be dampened powers, which is not horrible, but it's a little trickier. The map is potentially the most difficult, depending on which objectives we randomly get and which locations those objectives randomly appear in. So unfortunately, that's not something that we have direct control over. So we are subject to the whims of fate in that regard. But if we're up for it, we can certainly give it a shot. Does mean, though, that I will likely bring out the big guns here. Would be easier with a fourth. I mean... Oh, I did make it public. I could try. Just inviting a random person. Or multiple random people. And just see if anyone bites. Oh, or... Hold on. Dalton just finished. Unfortunately, I did just send those invites, and those people may or may not be about to accept them. If not, then we would have room for Dalton here. I'm thinking we probably should not throw Dalton straight into the Plat Apex for the very first mission that they've ever played, but, I mean, technically speaking, it is the most efficient way to get experience and credits, so from that standpoint, it is good. From the standpoint of not being immediately overwhelmed, probably not so good by that metric. Okay, so Dalton, what you can do is, you can either, maybe I'll make it private for one more second here. You can either send me a friend request on the EA app. That's my name there. Or you can search for our lobby by doing a quick search for Platinum, and hopefully you will find us if you do that. Either way potentially could work. Whatever you prefer. I've just made it public, so theoretically it is now searchable. Let's see if I receive any friend requests. Oh, this is one of the people who I just tried to invite a minute ago, who now, technically speaking, we're kind of trying to not yet have join us, because we're trying to get Dalton. So here, I'll make it private again. Need a second? Okay, no worries. Yeah, if we get each other friended on the EA app, then I can just send you an invite. That's probably the most straightforward way. But if for whatever reason that doesn't work out, or you're not interested in going that route, if you don't want to be my friend, then instead you can just search for it. You are in-game now. Okay. Do you want to just try searching for Platinum, and you might find me that way? Not that we actually need to play Platinum for the first one. This is just to make it easier for you to find us, because we're maybe the only people on Plat right now. Then once you're in, we can adjust to whatever difficulty we actually want to play. Could be Platinum, if you'd like, but up to you. Or if you give me your EA app username, I suppose I can look you up and send you a friend request if that's any easier. Any luck? Don't appear to have received a friend request. If you do the quick search for Platinum, there's a good chance you will find us. Technically, it's not guaranteed, but I'm kind of acting on the assumption that we are the only people with a platinum lobby right now. Hopefully that's true. Well, that's somebody, and that somebody might be you. That's you? Awesome. Alright, in that case, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna send you a friend invite while you're here, just to make it easier in the future, or in case somebody ends up crashing and we need to get people back. Okay, awesome. So, the next question is, what difficulty do we want? Because right now, we have it set for the single most difficult match in the game. Which is great if you want to just get as much experience and credits as quickly as possible. But it does mean it's going to be a lot of stuff to handle. So for your very first match, it's maybe a little bit it's probably a little overwhelming. So I don't know what your preference is. We can go in the opposite direction and keep it really simple and go with the lowest difficulty just to give you an easy way to introduce you to the mechanics if you'd prefer to take that approach instead, or something in between. Whatever you prefer. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. So I guess it's a question of, what do you care about more? Maximizing your credits and experience as quickly as possible, or really understanding the game mechanics and getting a feel for the game? Because that would be better on a lower difficulty, I would have to think. Okay, why don't we keep it simple then? Why don't we start off with something basic? We could either do a normal bronze, or we could do this bronze apex, which is slightly more rewarding. Let's just go with a basic bronze for now. Let's not spice it up just yet. Guess we can go icebreaker just for daily completion purposes. Bronze, we go, oops, icebreaker. Okay, there we go. Don't know what the difficulty was when you were doing that on the campaign. Okay, well, I think certainly on bronze, you will be totally fine with the three of us helping you out. So that's also worth bearing in mind, is that, of course, you'll have some teammates here. Teammates who may now choose to mess around on this lower difficulty, but that's okay. We have you covered. We definitely have you covered here. Does that mean that I personally am going to meme for the entirety of this match? Yeah, probably, but that's okay. Okay. Just make sure everybody loads in.
We need to secure this position. Enemies on the move. Be ready.
There we go. Very nice. Okay, so as I was saying before, we'll have 7 waves in total of enemies to fight. It'll get progressively more difficult, at least when it comes to the variety of enemies. So, like, this first wave or two is going to be almost exclusively very basic enemies. No, I was going to throw that guy.
Watch yourself.
Stop shooting the enemies I'm trying to grab. You're making it hard to meet. Okay, so that guy was deliberately hand delivering. You guys. That was the intention.
All enemies clear.
Nice.
Keep it up.
Sultan, you have an invisible wall on top of you every time you jump. What the heck? I have never heard of this. I have no idea what you're talking about. That sounds pretty crazy, if you ask me. Special delivery. Here, hold on. Is that better or worse? Then Sultan comes over. We were doing target practice, okay?
3 more to go.
Oh, no, no, hold on. Hold on. This guy's fine.
Reload. We're tracking reinforcements.
Bye-bye.
Intel shows key enemy.
Okay, so this is our first objective wave. We have to finish this objective, otherwise we fail the mission, so we need to make sure we prioritize that.
Scratch one target.
And this one is targets, which means we have specific enemies we need to take down. They should be marked. Sometimes a little bit of a delay in between them spawning, but go. Grab this one.
Target down.
I'm disappointed.
We've got a read on another priority target.
There are 3 in total. They do get to be progressively powerful enemies. This last one is pretty big.
Target eliminated. Well done.
But was that guy still alive? I thought someone, once again, covered him the moment I picked him up.
That hurt them. Be ready. Enemies incoming.
Ooh. Oh. Supposed to be hitting you. Is that guy alive? No.
Just 3 hostiles remaining.
Watch yourself.
He hit that! He got stuck up there.
Enemies down. Keep your guard
I've
up.
never seen that before.
Hostiles en route.
Hydra! This'll get their attention.
We got the big dude.
Just 3 hostiles remaining. That hurt them. Be ready. That was great.
Okay, so now this is our last objective. One that I commonly refer to as pizza,
First location on your HUD.
because we must find where the pizzas are located and then deliver them to the customer.
Target the Hydra!
Artifact recovered. Got the drop. Squad member down.
Oh, on my way. So here you'll notice if someone does go down, you have a little bit of time before you bleed out. So like, I got here with enough time that I could revive you. But if for whatever reason there wasn't somebody who was able to make their way over, then either if that little circle fills up, or similarly, if an enemy comes over and tries to stomp on your body, then that will make you go down for the rest of that wave. Not broken? Here we go.
Watch yourself!
Last drop received. All artifacts secured.
And there is a consumable resource, I forget what the technically correct term is to describe it, but there is a way that you can revive yourself. It's just that you are limited to a certain number of those per match.
3 left. Go get them.
So, when possible, of course, it's nice if you can get a teammate to revive you, because then you don't need to use that resource.
Shuttle incoming. Get to the extraction zone.
Hydra! Watch yourself! How am I
Kind of wanted that to be the case, to tell you the truth. Not that part.
Watch the enemy fire!
Who is shoosting me? So, reminder, this is the final wave. See the timer that says extraction in about 40 seconds. That means you want to be in that circle where we started the match when that timer reaches 0. So, don't need to be there just yet, but we're getting kind of close to that number hitting 0, so we should be thinking about heading into that area. Alright, everybody in.
All targets down.
And there we go.
Drinks are on me.
Full extraction. Mission accomplished. Well done. Now, this is where you'll get some experience, some credits. It's not going to be a crazy amount because we were just going on bronze, the lowest difficulty. But as you can see, you gained a couple levels there. So that means if you go to the character customization screen and then the skills screen, that's where you should be able to spend a few points to make your character a little bit stronger. So that's one way in which you can improve. And you can also cash in your credits, although maybe it makes sense to do another match or two before we do that, just so you have a little bit more credits to use. Oh, and let me ask, difficulty-wise, I'll circle back to the question I was asking before. How do we feel about the difficulty we just did? Do we want to stay on that one, which again is probably more manageable and easier to learn how the game works? Or would we rather bump up the difficulty? It'd be harder to learn that stuff, but it would mean more credits and more experience. No modifications? That totally works. We can even keep the same map if you'd like. There is a daily for that specific map, so you actually get a little bit of additional resources if we finish one more mission on that map. Yeah, we can. I'll show you after this next match what you can do with your credits. Again, it wasn't that much that you got from that match just then, but you know, we'll get a little bit more here. That'll make it a little bit easier to spend some monies, in-game monies. You good to go, Itachi? There we go. Okay, great. Warframe. What? Yeah, we did get a different category of enemy for this match, so same arena, same difficulty, but it'll be a little different. Oops, that was poor game. Be a little bit different because of the new enemy. Just switching it up a little bit. Down here.
That hurt them. Be ready.
Great.
Enemies headed your way. Three left. Go get them. Last one. All enemies clear. Keep it up.
So now this will be our first objective. And this one's devices. So this one's going to be a bunch of little spots that we need to chase down. It's similar to the pizza one that we saw in the previous match, just instead of running back to deliver it to the LZ, we don't have to do that. It just takes a little bit longer for us to type in all the numbers.
Low on ammo.
Metaphorically speaking, I should not use this as a metaphor. It takes a little bit longer to
One problem gone.
interact with the item. That's the only difference. That, and that you don't have to run back to the starting area.
Hang in there, Apex. Enemy tech is deactivated. Objective complete.
Well, that's not gonna work.
Hostiles en route.
Oh, hello. likely there was still an enemy. That is possible, if it's one of the ones that they
Hostiles en route.
spawn in. That's me remaining at the end of the wave, but it is a little unusual. Okay, now we start getting the big guys, as you can see.
Watch yourself.
3 more to go. Sensors clear for now. Great shooting.
Another round of devices, so this is the same category of objective that we saw.
Enemies tapping into civilian
last
comm
time?
traffic. We need to
Take
take
out
out their
that
uplink
destroyer.
devices.
Unfortunately, there's a big enemy directly on top of this. This is not going to end well for this.
One problem.
Ow.
One device down. Almost done.
Leapfrog.
All enemy devices shut down. Good job.
Destroyer.
Is there a destroyer directly behind me? There might. Yeah, there was.
I need ammo.
Just 3 hostiles remaining. Reload. We're tracking reinforcements. We're done here. Get yourself to the LZ.
Low on ammo.
Coming up on 30 seconds left, that means it's probably worth thinking about heading toward the extraction point. Rather than being on the opposite end of the map as I was. Oh, make it over! Don't forget to extract!
We get it done, whatever the cost.
That's okay. No worries. So it still counts as a successful mission. It just means you get slightly less credits and slightly less experience. So just on that final wave, it's good to try to keep an eye on that timer, and it happens to all of us. We just sometimes lose track of it, or we underestimate how long it takes to get back. Not a huge deal, but just good to have that in the back of your mind. Is that your credits? Maybe? It's probably around the amount of credits that you have. So if you go to the store, there are a few different categories here, but the type of stuff you get depends on what type of resource you're trying to use. You might notice you technically have both a credits number and a mission funds number in the top right corner. The packs category is where you spend your credits. So that's what you're getting from just a standard, any type of mission. You're getting credits from those. If you go to the other tab, to the item store, that's where you spend the mission funds. Those are a little bit harder to get because you can only get them from doing specific missions. And the types of rewards that you get there are slightly different. But if you're looking at the credits, again, you go to the packs category, you'll see there are several different types of packs that you can get. In general, the higher cost ones have a higher chance of giving you better stuff. It is still random to an extent, so it's not guaranteed. There are some packs that are more likely to give you a certain type of item as well. So that may not be a huge factor for you right now, but longer term. Yeah, there's also what's Andromeda points, I think is the other one. That one is something you might start off with a little bit of from DLC that you may have purchased, but that one is real world dollars that you get that from. So that's very different from that standpoint. Real world money, whatever currency you may use. So it's the credits and it's the mission funds that usually you would be using. You might have some Andromeda points at the beginning, but in all likelihood, you're not going to get more of those. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's possible to get more of those anymore. But if it is, then that's, again, real world money for that. So ideally, of course, you'd be going all with the mission funds and the credits, which is doable, of course. That's the way that I did it, and that's what you get from doing the missions that we were just doing. So yeah, at the very beginning, there are different arguments you can make for what the most efficient type of pack is. The basic pack is going to very quickly give you additional ranks on your starting weapons and characters, which is nice in the early stages, but at least for those weapons in particular, even when they're fully leveled, they still aren't going to be great. Whereas, if you can save up to get some of the bigger packs, again, it's not guaranteed, but you might be able to get a higher rarity weapon that has more potential to be useful to you. there's a fairly big difference with how powerful the weapons are based on the rarity. For the characters, it's not that big of a deal. In fact, for characters, higher rarity really doesn't mean that it's any better. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Weapons, though, it definitely does. Yeah, that's the approach that I took, was starting with the smallest packs and working your way up. That's oftentimes the approach that people recommend taking. I think it is technically supposed to be the most efficient for getting all the items unlocked as quickly as possible. The downside is that that means you're starting with the little stuff, so it requires more. It means you have a longer period of time when you're stuck with weak things. So if you really want to get something strong, at least one good weapon, for example, maybe you get a few of the more expensive packs, you at least get one nice weapon. That way it's easier to grind more credits going forward so that you can get more packs more quickly, more easily, and just make the playing experience more enjoyable and what have you. Bronze packs, best until you unlock the extra... Oh, right. Oh, sorry, I didn't even realize. Your icon was almost the same color as Sultan's, so I assumed that it was... that was still Sultan who was saying that. But yeah, oftentimes... Oh, it's Falco! Hey, what's up? It's good to see you. How are you? This is someone who is one of those people who I played a bunch of matches with very early on in my Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer experience, alongside Leopard Shark, who was the person who I was alluding to earlier. Yeah, so from purely an a credit spending efficiency standpoint, I think it is fastest if you start at the bottom and work your way up into, you start at the bottom, max everything out that you can get from the very basic packs, and then go to the next tier, so on and so forth. It's just that means you're going to be going a while before you get a strong weapon in particular, which, depending on how you feel about that, may or may not be something that you're okay with. Tried to stream snipe earlier, but kept on landing in other lobbies. Oh, darn. Well, it's good to see you. Melted your old rig. Oh, dear. I was out for a while. Say this. Come to think of it, it's getting pretty hot in here. My rig is probably heating up a fair bit. Oh, hold on. Wait, did you just get the Juggernaut? You very much did. Yeah, that's arguably the best character in the game that you just unlocked. That guy is unbelievably powerful. Like, crazy strong. So, I would highly recommend focusing on that guy in that case. That's huge. That's big. Awesome. And I think I saw... Okay, you got the Widow upgraded, so that's a little bit stronger now, and then the Scatter Shot up to level 2. Okay. Okay, so look at that. You're already getting some good stuff here. You'll love to see it. Very nice. Okay, so, as for our plans for the next match, technically, we should be done with the daily that was specifically for that map. So if we're up for changing the map, we could certainly do that at the very least. I was gonna say, right? As for the difficulty, maybe that means now we're ready to jump all the way up from bronze to platinum, right? Surely we'll be okay there. No, we should probably give you... Well, I defer to you, Dalton. Do you want to stay on bronze, or... seems like we've been coasting fairly smoothly thus far. We may be able to bump it up to silver if you're up for the challenge. I think you can handle it. It is a new character for you, of course, yes, but I think that character is... I mean, he's very strong, yes, but also just generally... he's very safe. Yeah, let's try it on silver. I think you'll be fine. We'll work our way up, you know? I think you'll be just fine here. I mean, bronze, I think, you know, we could probably do it with our eyes closed with this group here. Silver should be very straightforward as well. Realistically, I don't think we would have much of any challenge until we at least get up to gold, and then if we went up to platinum, that would start to get much more challenging. So I think even silver should be quite manageable. But we can go to either... let's just do it as a random map, maybe. Actually, let me just see what the silver apex is. We could, but maybe let's do a normal silver first, just to ease you into things a little bit more. Okay, and I've been doing a lot of kineticist. Maybe I'll switch it up a little bit. In what way, you ask? That is a great question. I did not think that far ahead. We'll do this. I'll just throw on a little baby booster. So yeah, what this will do is this will mean you'll get a little bit more experience and a little bit more credits, which obviously would help you get some more of those good upgrades more quickly. So if we can handle this, then it would be useful. So will you get stuff in the campaign from doing this? If we do specific missions, in fact, it was one that I was thinking about doing for this one, but I didn't choose to do it. Basically, in multiplayer, we have the option of doing normal matches, which is what we've been doing thus far, or every day there's one unique match per difficulty that has an additional difficulty modifier on it. So it's a little more challenging than a standard match, but if you do it, it's a little bit more rewarding, and those are the types of missions that will give you a little bit of stuff in the campaign. So if we're up for it, we can give that a shot for the next one. In fact, the silver daily is for this specific map. So we'd be repeating this map, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Gives you a chance to learn it this time, and then second go round, that means when you're a little more comfortable with it, we can amp things up just a little bit. It's not dramatic, the additional difficulty. I think the modifier itself changes from one day to the next. So if I remember correctly, the one that it is for today is that it makes your powers do a little bit less damage than usual. Your weapon is completely unaffected, but your powers do a little bit less damage. So, like 20%, 25, somewhere in the 20 to 30% range. So, it does give you more rewards, so if you can handle it, it is more beneficial. But given how this was our first time doing it on silver, it seemed like maybe we give you a little bit of an introduction to silver first. I honestly, it's been long enough since I've done the campaign, I did not even remember that. A good source of EZO and research. And these resources that I do not remember at all. Ezo I remember, yes. And that's a rare one. That's hard to get, right? Or at least hard to get in any sort of meaningful quantity. So yeah, if you can pick up some of that, it is useful.
Just 3 hostiles remaining.
Where are two?
Reload. We're tracking reinforcements.
Look at that. Getting some scattershot kills, nice. Yeah, I'm curious
Find artifacts
what type
and
of
return to
weapon
the
you
top.
like
Marking
most.
first location on your HUD.
There are actually some weapons that are unique to the multiplayer that aren't in the campaign. Scattershot, I'm pretty sure, exists in the campaign, so you may have already used that one, but... Okay, so you picked it up, now you need to go back to deliver the pizza here. Clear it out a little bit for you.
Artifact
Very nice.
Lost shield.
That's all there is to it. Ooh, hello, friends. Spoiler alert, friends were not friendly.
Lost my shield.
That was not supposed to bounce that way. Please don't bounce this way.
Squad member down.
Well, needless to say, that did not go according to plan.
Incoming fire.
Artifact is secure.
Silly nullifier. Your shield was on backwards.
Nearly through. Artifact.
Oh, I totally thought that was the last one. Okay. So I'm gonna not realize we still have one more.
All objects accounted for. Objective complete.
Not like how many flat cannons, or rather, not flat cannon, concussive shots it takes to take down an observer. What? No! Don't do that right when I'm trying to hit you with a frag grenade.
Keep it up.
That's rude.
Enemies headed your way.
I swear I was not throwing that at Itachi, though it may have looked like it. That was not the intention. Kind of do that in between all the enemies. I could not make up my mind if I wanted to go for the ones that were close or far. Oh. Greetings. Is there another one? No. I imagined that. Okay.
Three more to go.
Stop jumping right as I'm charging up the frag grenades. We've been over this.
Nice job, Apex. Keep it going.
Wish they had some weapon augments from... That's true, though. There are some weapon augments from the campaign that are not in multiplayer that would be pretty strong if they were to add them.
Careful.
However, what was the other thing? The Siphon, Concussive, and Bulwark, that is not what I meant to do. Those weapon varieties are not in the campaign, are they? I don't think they are. Oh, this is a horrible spot for me to be in. That was not very well managed. How many concussive shots would you like to use? Yes. Surprise! Oh,
Three more to go.
destroyed. I definitely threw that straight past me.
Enemies down. Keep your guard up.
Okay, I don't think we've had one of these yet. It's similar to the hack that we saw before. It's a bunch of circles on the ground that we need to stand in to progress. It's just that there are 3 different circles, and we do need to get all of them. This one, I would argue, is the hardest. Because again, if any enemies step into the circles, our progress stops. Oh, like this.
Data transfer complete.
Okay,
Careful!
that one's
They've
done
got a
though.
destroyer.
Let's help out. Oh, yeah, let's help out over here.
Incoming fire!
Ow. That is definitely not the way that I wanted to vault that cover, because I didn't really want to vault that cover, period.
Nearly through.
No power cells. That's the problem. Ow.
Data received. That's a wrap. Nearly through.
Nope. Stop shooting me.
Just 3 hostiles remaining. Good. Stay sharp.
Nice. Rows around with barrel, clip, receiver, melee mods would be bananas.
Here. Get yourself
I mean,
to
there.
the
Like,
LZ.
yeah. Bear in mind that the paw does not exist in the campaign, so the paw plus some of those. Wow, you spawned right behind me, didn't you? And I was in the process of concussive shotting that berserker. I really thought I did it quickly enough to hit him. But, anyways, that's gonna kill me. That's the only reason why I didn't. If you factor in that the paw does not exist in the campaign, but it's absolutely unbelievably busted in multiplayer, that means that we've never seen what a, say, Siphon paw looks like with all the additional modifiers you can get in the campaign, and that is a frightening thought. dramatic difference between how much damage we do against shields versus against armor. I'm pretty sure I have spec'd that to do bonus damage against armor, and I was feeling that.
Destroyer!
Squad member down.
Seconds. 30 seconds. So again, think about... It looks like we're generally pretty close to the LZ. Anything on the furthest away? Now, obviously, the most important part extracting here is this.
That's how Apex gets it done. Come on, hold.
That's true as well. In the campaign, you can get some pretty crazy bonuses. Well, there we go. That was silver. And it seemed like you were doing just fine there. And you'll see it's not a dramatic difference, but I think you were getting 2 levels from the... Or you got 2 levels on your first bronze mission, whereas you got 3 levels on this silver mission here. So it's a little bit better, and it should give you a little more monies as well. Some more credits. And if we are... Just double check. Yeah, if we're going to do the silver apex... So if we want to do the silver mission that has the extra difficulty modifier, this is what it looks like. It's the same map. It's the same enemy, even. The main difference is that your powers do 25% less damage. So it is a little more difficult, but it does give 10% additional experience and 10% additional credits. Again, not a huge amount, but it is a bonus. And this one would give you a loot box for the campaign. So this is one of the ones that would help you in the campaign as well. Right, and there are some characters who really don't care about that modifier. And the one that you are using right now is sort of one of them, to an extent. If you're doing most of your damage from weapons, then it really won't affect you much. Is the takeaway, basically. If you're doing most of your damage from powers, yeah, you might notice it a bit. Still not dramatic, but you might notice it a bit. So, yeah, I mean, could use this as a reason to go with a more weapon-based character, but that's not strictly necessary, right? Well, I don't know. What are we What are we thinking? I guess I could do it with this guy. What weapon do I even have on this guy? I feel like... Oh, goodness. I'm glad I double-checked. Because, yeah, I felt like I was experimenting with something else on this guy. This is usually the character I mess around with very janky weapons on. And I'd rather not have to use the phalanx, given the choice. What should we switch it to instead? We could have some fun. We'll mix it up a little bit, but let's not do the phalanx. For my own sanity's sake. Let's do... I was thinking... maybe something like this. Carnifex? I'm up for Carnifex. Well, I love the Carnifex in ME3. I do think they made it much weaker in Andromeda, and this makes me sad. But I'm still up for it. Why is the UI so bad? Yeah. I think it... I don't even... Well... Is it worse than it was in ME3 multiplayer? Yeah, it might be. At this point, I think I'm kind of just used to it. So I don't notice it so much anymore. And sure, you know what? We'll throw on a mini little pistol booster while we're at it. So many sub-menus, that's true. Oh, for choosing, like, mods on your weapons, yes. That in particular has way too many sub-menus. I 100% agree there. Tried to fix what was not broken. Yep. Oftentimes in those situations, yeah, you might make things worse. You might make them worse. Okay, so as I was saying before, this is the same map and the same enemy. I was wondering if we were going to get the nighttime version again or not. I've said it many times before, I will say it again. For whatever reason, this map is just way more likely to give the nighttime version than any other. I don't know why this is, but that's my conspiracy theory. So the main difference is that, as I was saying before, our powers are doing a little bit less damage, but your weapons are completely unaffected. So it may not matter much.
Squad member down.
Go for this guy. Do I have piercing? I didn't check. Would have been nice to verify. I feel like I probably don't. Guess I could have just tested a minute ago. I tested. Did I happen to shoot through a tiny little gap in this? But no, I'm pretty sure we do have piercing. At least on this artifact. I don't know if we took exactly the same mods on the other one.
Enemies headed your way.
Find myself to actually go pick up ammo. Okay, I'll throw a grenade here. It's a level 1 frag grenade, but they're all clustered together at the spawn. You have to give it a shot, right? Feel the rate of fire get so much slower when we don't have turbocharge active. Okay, is it just me, or did that assembler just moonwalk? Did anyone else see that? Or is that just me?
Reload. We're tracking reinforcements. Key enemy personnel were tracked to that location.
Okay, so now it's
Take them out.
targets. That's when we have to take out specific enemies.
Scratch one target.
Very nice.
We've got a read on another priority target.
Oh, that works too, I guess. Start.
Target down.
It was. Okay. A little hard to tell when it was right in my face like that. I was like, it's either this one or there's something directly behind it.
Heads down. All targets down.
Look at that. And by that I meant not my aim, because oh my goodness, that's atrocious. Look at how quickly we got the last target down and finished the objective. That's what I was referring to.
Just 3 hostiles remaining. All enemies clear. Keep it up.
It's more of an electric slide. Maybe.
Enemies
Maybe.
headed your way.
Simultaneous. Well, you may have wondered why I basically just shot at the floor there. I'm still trying to make absolute certain whether we have piercing or not. Give us that guy here. I need some alone time, guys, okay? Just leave me be. I regret to inform that assembler that I did not let him be. I'm sorry, Paul. Oh, right. That's not gonna make it. It might, yeah. Not that it's gonna do much.
Watch out. Enemies down.
World's best turbocharge? Yeah, you just saw it.
Enemies headed your way.
Would I like to have turbocharge right now? Yeah, you bet. Would I like to have that grenade back as well? Probably. No, Itachi, I was relying on that. I was like, oh, this is really convenient. I hope he keeps that shield up.
Teammate injured.
On my way. Someone might beat me to it, though. I gotcha.
Heads down. Three left. Go get 'em.
devices again.
The enemy's tapping into civilian comm traffic. We need to take out their uplink devices. Got a destroyer. One problem gone.
Oh,
Incoming fire.
not what you guys are getting after. Thank you for covering for me.
Enemy tech shut down.
Excuse me. Actually, this is not even the direction I want to go in. I take it back.
Nearly through.
Yeah, we'll just make it.
Enemy tech is deactivated. Objective complete.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I shot straight at that guy's shield and it dealt damage, so I know we've kind of sort of checked multiple times, but I think we do have piercing. It's just not a huge amount. Oh, that's also a destroyer. Of course it is.
Teammate injured.
One moment.
Teammate injured.
Ooh. This is a
More to go.
dangerous spot we find ourselves in right now. 1 second.
On my way.
This is a big guy. Okay, but that was a little unnecessary, I might add. Don't worry, Itachi. We don't need to break out the missiles. We have incredibly powerful weapons like the Carnifex to rely on instead.
All enemies clear. Keep it up.
I wish that wasn't a knock against the Carnifex. If it were ME3, that would unironically... If it were ME3, that would be sarcasm. In Andromeda, it might not
Shuttle
be, though.
incoming. Get to the extraction zone.
Wait, did I get that the wrong way around? It's weak in Andromeda. It's not as weak in ME3. That's what I'm trying to get at. So I would not criticize it in ME3. I, unfortunately, may have no choice but to do that in Andromeda. So it pains me to do so. Okay, well, there's your optics test. Definitely piercing.
Incoming fire.
For like the 5th time. In case you wanted us to quintuple check. Actually does make it significantly easier to hit the weak points on the nullifier, so
Reading a flat line.
nice from that standpoint. Ooh. I'm a long way away, but I'm getting over there. And it looks like you may have just used the item that lets you get yourself back up, which, if you're about to run out of time, you know, someone isn't able to get you before the circle fills up, or if you see an enemy walking over and it looks like they're about to stomp you, then that's definitely worth doing. But if not, then you might not need to. Okay, 10 seconds. Everybody in. And once again, most important thing.
That's how Apex gets it done. Come on home.
Yeah, I really like it in ME3, the Carnifex. I'm not sure if that's the majority opinion or not. I think there are probably still others that people would probably tend to lean toward. . 'Cause, But yeah, I don't know if the balance for it may have changed over time. I could not tell you that. There we go. That was another silver mission done, and a more difficult silver mission, technically, that time around. So you should see that it gave you a little bit more credits, a little bit more experience, and it should have actually given you 10 of the mission funds as well. Yeah, it definitely fires more slowly in Andromeda. I don't know on a damage per shot basis, it might be weaker as well. That is kind of true, Sultan. There are probably various reasons for that, but I also just play Andromeda, or have played Andromeda multiplayer more often. I've played almost the same amount of hours, but in probably half the time for Andromeda, so generally I am more well practiced in Andromeda, and I generally play on higher difficulties in Andromeda than I do in ME3. So just the nature of it is usually a little bit different. Which probably has something to do with it, but I don't know. Various factors as to why that's probably the case. We do have challenges in the tome for Andromeda as well. Not nearly as many, but we want to get silly in Andromeda. It is technically possible. I think the other thing is that it's harder to do that when you don't have a full lobby, and we more... Oh, sorry, I just scraped my headphones against the microphone, which I'm sure... And I also moved the pop filter in the process. I'm sure you just loved those amazing sound effects that I just gave you. Sorry, I lost track of what we were talking about. I don't remember. That is also true. I just tend to mess around more in ME3, so I'm generally not locking in as much in ME3. Oh, challenges in Andromeda. Yes, we do have challenges in the tome for Andromeda. We don't have a full lobby as often, so it's kind of harder to break those out. And then for a long time, we were prioritizing trying to grind experience, bonus stats, and credits to max everything out, and it just takes so much longer to do that in Andromeda than it does in ME3, so we were being a little more pragmatic in Andromeda for that reason, I think. Like the ME3 enemies are more challenging. I think that might be fair to say. I mean, again, for the reasons I was just describing, like I think I am probably a better Andromeda player than I am Mass Effect 3 multiplayer player. So to me, it seems easier, I would argue. I think maybe that, but that may just be my own personal bias. I would say the most obvious thing you could point to is that the sync kills are so much of a bigger factor in Mass Effect 3 than they are in Andromeda. Itachi, you agree? Oh, yeah. The thing about Andromeda multiplayer is the objectives can be more difficult. But I would say the basic taking down enemies experience is definitely easier. Like, it's pretty rare that even on Platinum, the thing that causes you to lose is everyone runs out of revive packs. It's almost always the objective where you fail, whereas that's not really the case for Mass Effect 3. All right. What would we like to do for this one? Are we thinking silver is the right difficulty for us? And if so, do we want to mix up the map or the enemy or anything like that? Or, I mean, if we want to, we can bump it up to gold. Itachi's saying we could try gold. I think we can handle it. I think we've been doing just fine here. Out of curiosity, what is the gold apex? Dalton, you're up for it? Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. If you want, we can do gold, and I can deliberately put it on what I would argue is the easiest enemy and the easiest map if we want to find the way to ease into it in the most gradual way possible, but I don't even know that that's necessary. Yeah, just random. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. I probably won't take the Carnifex for this one. I will say that much. I could, but I probably won't. Maybe I'll do this. Let's do a little bit of this. Do... guess a little bit of that. Okay. I was about to say this. So, one thing you can do here is, yes, the consumables are probably more meaningful now that we are going on higher difficulties. So, getting the extra damage could be helpful. The experience booster is not a bad idea. I mean, yes, technically the best way to maximize the bonus experience from that is by playing on platinum. So we're on gold here, it's not as good, but it's still decent, so depends on how strictly optimal you want to be. I don't know if you have any of the lower rarity XP boosters, but you could argue maybe that's a little bit more appropriate. But honestly, whatever you want. You go in Turian Soldier this time. I think Turian Soldier is the best he's the most straightforward, just pure weapons guy. But I do think this guy that you just switched back to, the Juggernaut, I do think that's probably just a better character overall, because, yeah, he's arguably the single best character. He can do everything except turn invisible. That's the one thing he can't do. And even then, teammates can potentially do that for you. Yeah, this was the map that I was going to set us for what it's worth. I'm curious if we get the enemy I was going to do as well. I think I switched it back to random. Did I not? That's also true. The abilities rock even at level 1. Okay, so it's Remnant. It's the same enemy we had for the past few matches, but it is obviously a different arena, and it is also gold difficulty this time. So one thing I will note is that if you're looking for a place to just kind of hang out on this map, I highly recommend this rooftop up here where we are. It's pretty well defensible. That's grammatically not the way to phrase that. It is a good defensible position because there's a good bit of cover, and it takes the enemies a little bit of time before they can get up there. There's horrible aim. So, I mean, obviously, totally up to you. You can go wherever you want. But if you're just looking for a place to hang out, that's my recommendation. And, you can just sort of hang out over the edge in whatever direction you want, and you can probably hit just about any and every enemy. what it's worth, I do think we have the bug that's making us take more damage than we're supposed to take, which is unfortunate. Yeah, and Remnant is also kind of unfortunate. For this character, it's definitely unfortunate. It is definitely the weakest matchup for this guy, but we'll be fine on gold. Means it's a little harder to spam the flamethrower. But when we see spawns like that of the basic enemies, we'll go for it. Just there's a fair bit of shields. Generally not what we want to see in this guy. Also, generally not a great idea to explode explosive containers directly on top of your character. But, you know, to each their own. So that's not something to throw. You are. Where'd the other guys go? Oh, up here. Okay.
3 more to go.
That's where they went.
Enemies down. Keep your guard up.
Okay. First objective. It's a hack. I think this is the easiest map because now I am about to jinx this, so knock on wood.
Data from your local
But I do think this is the map that has the fewest just nightmare hack locations. This is probably the best, to be honest. As I was saying earlier, this is a place where you can just kind of camp out if you want to. So for this to be where the objective is telling us we need to go is fairly an inconvenience.
gun all the danger.
Go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Shields are gone. Reload. Go get him.
One thing to note about, what is the name of that one? The scatter shot. The shotgun that you're using,
All clear for
Dalton, is that it has limited range. Like, it does 0 damage if you shoot it at enemies that are really far away. So just a heads up, I think you have a sniper rifle as your other weapon, so obviously that's a good combination, but just bear that in mind. If you're trying to shoot enemies that are really far away with that shotgun and it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, that's because that is probably true. Or at least that's the case for other remnant weapons that are like that one, so I think that's also the case for that, although it's been a long time since I've used it.
Watch the shield.
Owie.
Squad member down.
The destroyer? That destroyer? Or was there a different one? Excuse me? How? I think I was pretty clearly on the opposite side of that cover, and it's not even like it was thin cover either.
Squad member down.
How much piercing does that destroyer have? Unless it just made the needle thread of the century.
I'm reading a flat line.
Oh, never mind. I'm not fast enough. this map actually has the most ammo boxes. Does it really? Oh, okay, just ignore the fact that I failed the most basic of parkouring attempts twice in a row there. I was reading chat, okay? That's my excuse.
Enemies clear. Stay alert. Enemies incoming.
Wait, there's more. Hello. Greetings, young destroyer. Then we'll move on to other stuff. What are you looking at? Oh, you have some friends over here. Let me give you a hand.
Three more to go. Good. Stay
Ooh.
sharp.
Ooh, okay, another upload this time. Again, for this map, maybe not a huge deal, though. Again, I am
Find the
jinxing it,
location and
but...
upload the intel. Squad member down. Data transfer complete.
What's the last one? Oh, it's right there.
Almost done.
And now it's done. Or at least the last one that I saw. Second last that we finished.
Almost done.
That was not a great angle.
Three more to go.
I know that jump doesn't work, yet I did it anyway.
All enemies clear. Keep it up.
And look at that. Already at extraction.
Time to go. Get to the extraction site.
Destroyer! Hey, big guy! High five!
Ooh, hello. I did not know you were there. Please decide which way you are going to face so you can more easily target a specific turret. Oh, this is not where... That's gonna hurt. Yep. You know, I got stuck on the wall, and that was definitely the death of me. Not a great time. Not a great time to mess up a very basic maneuver. Oh my goodness. Just hear our character's voice drop a couple of octaves. For some reason, I feel like I always have that happen to me on female characters who tend to have higher voices, but for this guy, that was very low. Very alarming. Standing here. Okay, 30 seconds. Should start thinking about heading over to the LZ. I think we're all relatively close. Ooh, that looks nasty. Okay, everybody in.
All targets down, everyone stand.
Very nice. And look at that. See? Gold isn't so bad, is it? Very nice. Yeah, but it's not a big deal, you know? Go down a few times, you can get a teammate to get you back up. Or you can, if you need to, you can use one of the revives for yourself. That happens, especially on gold and certainly platinum. But at no point did it seem like we were truly at risk of losing the mission or anything like that. I mean, even I went down at least once. I did some stupid things that led to me dying at least once, so, you know, it happens. It's not a huge deal. There is actually one of the other dailies is for doing 2 full matches on gold. So, if we can do at least one more, you'll get some additional mission funds, which could be helpful, and that also, hopefully, gave you a fair bit more credits and XP. It does take more XP to level up once you get to a higher level, so it is still going to take longer at some point, even if we increase the difficulty, but obviously it helps. Give a suggestion for another class for gold. You're looking for something that is particularly effective, Sultan? Let's see. I would say, I mean, there are several good options. Some that are more matchup dependent than others. Had enough of the jug. The guy I was just using, the Turian agent, is quite good. Let's see. I think the base human soldier, base human infiltrator, both of them, very strong. I think the Asari huntress is incredibly strong, although in some ways, technically at least the way that I prefer to play her, oddly enough, she's actually better on platinum than she is on lower difficulties. One of the few characters you can say that about. could go Angara Avenger, also good on plat, although in this case I think there's sort of more consistent across the board. For anyone who's wondering, it's because tech combos from priming with your weapon on gold, you're probably just going to kill the enemy before they're primed, or you're practically going to have killed them when you shoot them with disruptor rounds. So detonating that with throw or lance with the Huntress is kind of overkill, whereas on platinum that is very meaningful. The kineticist is potentially very good on gold, but she is very matchup dependent, so that's a little bit of a risk there. Those are the ones that I would probably recommend off the top of my head. Which is not to say that there aren't more options. There absolutely are. Even some that I play quite a bit on gold, like you. I think that one's maybe a little less common for people to take on higher difficulties. That's also a good question. For me, I'm all set, but Sultan, if you have a specific bonus stat you're looking for, that could be a determining factor. What was the gold apex? The gold apex, if we do it, is hand-to-hand, which means bonus melee damage, big-time bonus melee damage, penalty to both weapons and powers. So, I don't know if you want to go with a... Well, actually, the Angara Avenger could be a decent idea for that reason. Might actually stay with this guy, because I think he's pretty good against Outlaw. Yes, we get the damage penalty, which is unfortunate. But honestly, I mean, I would put tech damage on, and it's pretty rare that I use high-value tech damage boosters, so we can bump it up a tier. The weapon-based ones, I'm more reluctant to do that for. Those are harder to come by, or at least something I use much more often, so the supply is more limited. Ooh, though as it currently stands, we have 3 infiltrators and 1 non-infiltrator, and that is Dalton, which means we would be basically having all of the enemy's attention on Dalton, which I don't feel great about. So if we're going to do this, then I'll switch to a different character. The way I tend to approach this one is definitely different as well. Let me mix it up just a bit here. I will share the aggro. Okay, so this one will be more difficult, I would argue, from several standpoints. It is still gold difficulty, yes, but I think the map is more difficult, I think the enemy is more difficult, and it has that modifier that makes us do less damage for our weapon and power-based abilities. If you do happen to go the melee route, then you are doing a lot more damage, but I don't know if anyone was truly planning on going that route. What do you do for the build on that character? Like for powers, you mean? I think the way I set it up was a little bit different than what other people tend to do, but I went all-out tack cloak. I went full incinerate for the double incinerate, which that's the part that I think is a little bit unusual. Other people, I think, have made the case for going full sticky grenade. There are enough other sticky grenade characters that I chose not to go that route for the base human infiltrator, but in a vacuum, it still does make a lot of sense, so there's nothing wrong with going that route. I still took a fair number of points for it. And then I skimped out a little bit on fitness in order to be able to squeeze in some of those points on the sticky grenade, which does technically mean I have a little bit of leftover, which is obviously not perfectly efficient. So, hey, you know, I'm not sure that this is the best build to be structuring yours off of, but I have used this a lot, including on gold and platinum, and it has worked well for me. It's just a little different. Literally just respect your class this way. Previously had the top 3 powers spec'd or maxed out. What was I about to do? I was about to do base sentinel, right? Okay. I think I'm good. You have 3 fitness and 4 grenade. I think that's what I had, right? Maybe it was the other way around for me. Something like that. Very similar. This was outlaw,
We need to
right?
secure this position.
Yeah.
Enemies on the move. Be ready.
Yet to see Ket today, I think. Or maybe in our very first match before we start getting other people in. Might have had it for that.
How are my shields down?
So yeah, this is one of those missions that has the extra difficulty modifier on it, and it actually... It's a modifier that is in some ways beneficial, and in other ways not. We get a big bonus to our melee damage. So if you do want to try punching stuff, technically, you are better at it than you would usually be. That is obviously riskier still, because it means you have to get right up next to the enemies, but if you're up for it, technically speaking, it is a little bit more efficient. The other stuff, though, your weapons and your powers, those are a little bit weaker. So, depending on your perspective, we may or may not find
Enemies
this
incoming.
to be a little more challenging. I think this enemy and this map are both more difficult than the one that we just had. Uh-oh. Please don't do that.
Just 3
Thank
hostiles remaining. Enemies clear. Stay alert.
Oh, Sultan, yours is spec melee. That's actually pretty good for this then. Okay, there are some nasty hack spots for this map, so this could get tricky.
Sources say key data is scattered
Where is
around this
this?
area. Find and recover that.
That's certainly not the worst, or second, or probably even third worst. That's not so bad. Okay, what I am probably going to do, though, is given how I am not an infiltrator this time around, I am going to leave this up to you guys who are infiltrators hang out in Hacktown. That's alright. Technically speaking, it is beneficial if I don't kill these enemies, and instead I just hang out in the corner and attract them all away. Most importantly, this guy. We'll probably just try to get him here. Targeting system. There we go. At a minimum. So close. You guys almost have it.
Well done.
There you go.
Got the data.
Nice. I feel like he was just about to leapfrog over me. That's the one I took out the targeting system on? I believe so. That is an Audi. And I was dodging out of the way of it, and yet it did still grab me. Such is the way of Audis.
My shields failed?
Sensors clear for now. Great shooting. Hostiles en route.
Oh, I was about to say, I was really surprised that no one spawned in here, and then it turned out they did. They were just right next to me. He did. He also did. Uh-oh. Don't do that. Bad idea. Ow. I apparently was standing close enough to it to have it explode and deal damage. Was that just did that with me, Sultan? That was great.
Get safe.
Oh. Hey, man. How's it going? Nice to meet you.
3 more to go. That hurt them. Be ready.
My treehouse.
Enemies incoming.
Oh, one moment, please.
There's a Hydra.
There is, in fact, a Hydra. This is true. There is also a treehouse. Okay, we won't stay up here. It is very impractical. Oh, this is the situation I was describing before when we were comparing Audi jump scares to Banshee jump scares. It's behind you, you don't know it's there. It grabs you, the camera angle zooms right in on the Audi, and also it glitches a little bit. That one wasn't a dramatic glitch, but it was shaking. At least a little bit when the grab was happening.
I'm reading a flat line.
Wow. My shields failed?
Oh, nope, bad Audi. One moment.
They're firing. Hold that thought.
Excuse me. You just missiled me. Thank you very much.
Safe.
I saw that.
No
That was
shields
rude.
now.
That hurt my feelings. Uh-oh.
3 more to go. Nice job, Apex. Keep it going.
Oh, what's up, Warcrow? How's it going? Hack. Where?
Intelligence needs
Same
data for our
spot.
location.
Okay.
Look for
I was about to say, once again, there are some potentially pretty difficult spots, but we, unfortunately, did not get it either time. A bunch of enemies that spawned on the opposite side of the map, which is great for path completion purposes. It does mean that if I am to once again try to kite people over here, that's a little bit harder to do safely. Naturally, as soon as I went over there, everyone ran away.
Get to cover.
And then as soon as I leave that area, everyone comes back. Makes perfect sense. Oh, that's a grenade right on top of me, I realized.
They're shooting.
Teammate injured.
They're shooting.
Teammate injured.
Very far away, but I'm making my way over. Oh, there we go. Nice.
Data's received.
Complete. Ow.
Squad member down. I'm reading a flat line.
Many thanks.
Thank you. There's a lot of enemies over here. Like a whole lot of enemies over here.
I'm on my way.
Why, hello there.
Just 3 hostiles remaining.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
All clear for now.
Alright. Now we are on to extraction again.
Time to go. Get to the extraction site.
Okay, a lot back here. Take care of it. If I could hit anything, that is. Oh!
Teammate injured.
That's a grenade. Oh, it sure is.
No shields? How?
So one thing I know we've talked about in previous matches, how when we're getting close to the end of the wave and the mission is going to end, it makes sense for us to make sure we're close to that. It makes sense for us to be close to the extraction zone. However, if we do that too early, what happens is we start attracting all the enemies to this area, and it makes it much harder for us at the end to all stay alive. So for that reason, generally, good strategy on the last wave is to try to at least start kind of far away from that circle, and then once you're at around 30 seconds or so, that's generally when you want to start making your way over, which, granted, is now the case.
Get to cover.
Uh-oh. I'm not sure if that guy was about to stomp. I was concerned. Okay, everybody in.
Reading a flat line.
Uh-oh. Watch out for these missiles. And that grenade. No! Itachi!
That's how he fixes
Full extraction. It still counts. Alright. Got a little messy there, but that's kind of what I was getting at. If we attract a whole bunch of enemies there, then those last few seconds become pretty hectic. We still made it work, but we might have been able to make it a little bit easier if we had attracted all the enemies to the far side. And then again, with around 30 seconds or so, that's when you start making your way back over. And that one was also gold, as I was saying, but also more difficult in a number of ways. But we still got it done. Doing all right. We're getting someone new in today, Dalton. We've been showing the ropes. Yeah, I definitely think the melee in ME3 is way better than the melee in Andromeda, even in this case with the huge bonus damage. You will get no arguments from me. Also, for some weird reason, if you do the jump and ground pound melee, that does not get melee damage boosters from if you have any melee consumables and if you have the Apex modifier. For some reason, that one just has the same old base melee damage, whereas a standard punch, yeah, that gets buffed. Why? Who knows? I couldn't tell you. Yeah, the lack of lock-on, there's no difference. There is no light versus heavy melee, there's just a single melee. There is the ground pound, though, for the reason I was just describing. That's from a optimal melee gameplay standpoint. Rarely is that going to be something that you want to do, at least for pure damage purposes. Technically, it does stagger enemies pretty consistently, so it's not bad for that, but that's probably not the main thing you're looking for. Right. It does make you look back to ME3 and say, yeah, you know, maybe I would prefer this and this in ME3 relative to ME3 multiplayer relative to Andromeda multiplayer. Well, that's why we'll do ME3 multiplayer tomorrow. All right. So, how are we feeling now? We've checked off that special gold mission. We've worked our way up. Bronze, silver, gold. We've yet to try plat. If you want to, we can give it a shot. But I would say there is a pretty big jump from gold going into plat. It can be done, for sure. But just trying to be transparent about what that means. And by it can be done, I mean, yes, we do it fairly regularly, but that's definitely a steep learning curve. If we want to stay on gold, we certainly can. If we want to try on plat, I defer to you. Don't worry, we have paw, right? With the paw, nothing can go wrong. Well, that character you just switched to, Dalton, would have been great for the previous match. That's one of my preferred melee characters. And as we were saying, that previous match, we technically had bonus melee damage. Itachi's saying we should go plat. I'm up for it, but I think we should have the buy-in of the rest of the team if that is something we're interested in doing. What do other people think? Dalton? Sultan? Do we want to go all the way up to platinum, or do we want to stay on gold here? Whatever you guys prefer. Sultan says no problem. Dalton, what do you think? Do you want to try plat? Gold was hard. That previous one was hard. That's true. We definitely didn't do as well in that one. Technically, we had that extra modifier that made us do less damage, but it also, as I was saying, I think it was a harder enemy and a harder map. So, for several reasons that probably added up, that one was a little bit trickier. So yeah, if you don't want to go beyond gold, that's totally fair. If you want to go back down to silver, that's totally fair too. But if you want to give it a shot, we can try, exactly. I mean, remember, it was not long ago when we were saying, oh, let's keep it simple. Let's just go on bronze. And then here we are. We've pretty quickly scaled our way up, and it was going pretty well. Yeah, that's the other thing is, you know, when we start increasing the difficulty, getting it up to gold, certainly at least once we get it up to platinum, then we probably start goofing around a little bit less and making sure we're playing more optimally and all that. And if we would like, then we can do that combination that, as I was saying, I think is the easiest. Would be this, I would argue. There are a few things, though, that are unique to Platinum. Obviously, the enemies are stronger. They do more damage. There are more of the big boss enemies, much like what we saw as we increased to the other difficulty thresholds. However, in addition to that, in Platinum, there's actually one more objective wave. So you may have realized there's usually 2 objectives over the course of a mission, and then obviously there's that final wave where you have to extract. But in Platinum, there are 3 objectives, and then you extract afterward. And the other big thing is that on Platinum, you get a mixture of all of the enemy types. So rather than just getting, like right now, it says the enemy is Ket. Rather than exclusively getting Ket enemies, we'll actually get a mixture of every category of enemies. So that's another thing that may not be that meaningful to you, I don't know, but for whatever it's worth, there will be a wider variety of enemies. And yeah, that is true, Sultan. If you want to try Platinum at some point, maybe it is better doing it with a group of people here where we can coordinate a little bit and come in with a plan rather than just doing it with a bunch of strangers who may or may not be able to, you know, help you along the way. Work together and coordinate and all that. So those are the big overarching differences. The other thing that I would say is I mentioned it earlier that on Platinum, generally, not all the time, but generally, the biggest challenge is actually getting the objectives done, more so than everybody bleeding out and, you know, just getting overpowered by the enemies. So objective waves in particular, we're going to need to really dial in and all that. And this probably will be my last one as well, because it is also 1 a.m. for me. So why not give it a shot, you know? Maybe I'll break out the even bigger guns here. By guns, I mean consumables, naturally. 60% bonus damage is just ridiculous. Do love that. Unfortunately, as I mentioned a while back, I do think we have that bug that is making it so that we take more damage than we're supposed to take from enemies, which especially once we bump it up to flat is going to be, you know, potentially a somewhat significant factor, but I'm hoping that it doesn't make a difference. We'll hopefully just sail through regardless. So the big thing on the objectives, Dalton, is I would say I am basically going to try to be the designated objective doer in most cases. So like with any of the objectives that have those circles on the ground, the one that has the single circle and also the one that has the 3 different circles spread out, I would actually recommend going as far away as possible from those circles and just hiding the enemies away, distracting them from the objective, basically. And if you do that, I will greatly appreciate it, because that will mean there are less enemies for me to deal with in that circle. Which is probably the most productive thing that non-infiltrators can do during those objectives. Not a huge deal on the lower difficulties, but again, on flat, these are the kind of things that do start to matter. Pretty sure that, yeah, that was not me who was getting that revived, despite the animation. And yes, I probably would recommend hanging out up on this building to the extent possible. That way we're kind of all together, we can more easily revive each other, and I do think it is generally safer than being down on the ground level. Ooh, old lane.
3 more to go.
Okay, so now this is going to be our first objective. Let's see what we get. Boss. Okay, so this one obviously just going to be a matter of taking down the enemies. The last one is going to be very tanky. It's going to have a ton of health. So the first 2 we should be able to zoom through quite quickly. The last one, though, is where the actual challenge starts to come in. This spot is starting to get a little spicy, unfortunately. Might need to relocate. Okay, so this is the last guy. This is the dude who is a bit of a challenge.
Oops, shield's down.
Somebody has the Juggernaut, don't they? Was it Sultan? If so, your snap freeze is really clutch on this guy.
Need shields anyway.
Thank you. Huge, huge snap freeze. Now let me help Dalton up here. And ideally not get killed by that enemy.
Oops, shield's down.
Good time to grab ammo if anyone needs it.
Enemies headed your way.
Berserk coming up. This guy.
I'm reading a flat line.
Ow. Stop that. Nice. Ooh, let's do something about this guy, shall we?
Teammate injured.
Oops. That was close.
Who needs shields anyway?
Also, ow. Also, ow. One moment, please. Oh, when did I just a pink? Oh, I did overload the siphon briefly, didn't I? Hello there. Away he goes.
I'm reading a flat line. 3 more to go.
Gotcha. Somehow that didn't hit me. I should have really looked like that hit me. I mean, we'll take it, but pleasantly surprised. Well, that wasn't the last enemy. That would be. Oh, there are 2 of them.
Good. Stay
Okay,
sharp.
so now this is our next objective. Let's see what we end up with here. Upload. Okay, so this is the tricky one. This is the really tricky one. So I'm gonna try to get as many of these as I can.
We detected
I would
mission
say,
critical data. Find the location
Dalton,
and
if you
upload
could
the
try to
intel.
be as far away from them as possible, that would kind of be ideal. And then Itachi, are you also an infiltrator? I think you might be, right? So maybe 2 of us, we split them up. Your feed. Know exactly where it is. Hoping it doesn't come over
Teammate
here.
injured.
There it is. So that's gonna be a little tricky to get rid of. Uh-oh. What did I just jinx myself with?
Ooh, shields down.
Data transfer complete. Nearly through. I'm reading a flat line.
What beam?
Squad member down.
Dalton, if you can, I know you've used a few of your revives. If you can, easier said than done, of course, but if you can, try to save 1 for the final wave, that'd be great. Because then in case you go down near the end, you can quickly use that to make sure you get back up and make it out at the end of the mission. Still manageable, of course,
Teammate injured.
even if you don't, but under ideal circumstances. And in general, I should have said this from at the beginning, but in general, with this character, I can get you revived even when you're surrounded by enemies. It might take me a little while to get there, depending on where exactly I am, but I can be a designated medic when needed. Wait, where'd he go? mind, dude.
Nice job, Apex. Keep it going.
Okay, so now this is going to be the trickiest wave in terms of just how many powerful enemies it throws at us. It's a lot. So for this one, I would generally say try to stick to the smaller enemies. Keep it simple. And we'll just whittle our way through it. Comes to the big guys, just... They start chasing it down, honestly,
Hold on.
just relocate.
I'm reading a flat line.
Okay. Right here.
Hold on.
And coming to get you as well, Itachi.
Who needs shields anyway?
Shields anyway. Oh, there we go.
Get out of here.
That's not where I want to be standing
Shields
anymore.
down.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Ammo refill.
I'm reading a flat line.
Shields down.
It's still too early to go after that guy. Technically speaking. Like getting close to it. Yeah, he just respawned.
Who needs shields anyway?
I'm reading a flat line.
I got you. Oh, we're both right here.
Teammate injured.
Thank you.
And if you've been asking yourself, hey, why am I occasionally turning invisible? I didn't think my character had the ability to turn invisible. I have an invisibility power that has an area of effect. So that is... Sometimes when you're standing next to me, I might be hitting you with that. That is why that is happening.
3 left. Go get him.
Okay, now we can go after the big guys. Like... Guys down, now it's just probing Santa, right?
That hurt.
There we go.
Be ready.
Okay, so final objective wave. Ooh, it's another upload. Okay, Itachi, I think what we did last time worked pretty well.
We've located
So
data
if the
sources. Get
two
them
of
up and running
us
before we lose the connection.
go for the circle areas, and Sultan and Dalton, if you guys go to the far side and just tank the enemies together and help each other out, then that may be the way to go. If that Krogan Santa comes over here, that's going to be a big problem. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to mess around.
I'm reading a flat line. Fragment uploaded.
Move on to B.
Squad member down. member down.
Uh-oh. At this point, Dalton, if you only have one gel left, one revive left, I wouldn't use it. Honestly, I would prioritize saving a gel over being up for this wave, because the next wave is just way more important for the extraction. So don't worry about it. Don't have any?
Let's get out of here.
That's okay. As I said, it's the next wave,
Almost done.
which is the final wave. That's the one that really
Data
matters.
received. That's a wrap. Nearly through.
Now, the objective is done. That's the hard part. Now we just clean up. And unfortunately, the tricky thing is... I can get you, Itachi. The tricky thing is that since for that objective, Itachi and I both needed to be in those circles, it makes it much harder for us to go and revive people. So it's... The objective waves are more challenging for a few reasons. Especially on flat. We ended up finishing with enough time to spare that we might have been able to do it, but obviously that's easy to say when it's already done, and not so easy to say when you're in the middle of doing the objective and it's
Squad member down.
not a sure thing. On my way, Itachi. Yeah, you should be totally fine here. Shouldn't be anyone over to stomp you. Could be in
Here
the
I
clear.
come. Start the drill.
However,
Anyway,
we do have a friend. Snap face is just so huge. It's a dramatic difference. There we
Enemies
go.
down.
Okay, and there you see, Dalton, you just get up at the start of the next wave. So this is the extraction wave. This is the one that we want to make sure everyone can get out at the end of.
Time to go.
However, the cool thing is that we technically don't even need to kill any enemies on this wave. All we need to do is survive for the next 2 minutes and get to that circle. So, if necessary, we can just run around and avoid enemies. We don't even need to fight them. Obviously, if they're right in front of you and you can take them out, then go for it. I'm just saying, don't be afraid. Just run around with it. Yeah, alright, the one thing is don't go near that circle just yet, as we were talking about before. I can get you though. Just because we definitely don't want to attract a whole bunch of enemy attention over here until we are practically done. It's like on Platinum, they will surround us and take us down very quickly and easily if we track them all over there.
Member down.
hold on.
There, yeah, let's go this way. Let's hang out over here,
Hydra.
maybe. You guys are not gonna be cooperative. Tachi, you are up there.
Teammate
Get
injured.
up here? I can't. Okay. Ooh. Okay, this is tricky.
Hold on.
Hope there isn't anyone about to stomp you, because I stepped away for a second.
I've got you.
Okay, now we go. Now we go to the circle. Just keep you guys invisible.
Teammate
Stay
injured.
behind the cover. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Almost there.
Took a hit.
No! We still succeeded. We still succeeded, but obviously it would have been ideal if we were able to get you out as well, but just the last second. So yeah, that's why I was saying earlier, if you can save one of those revives, just in case something like that happens, that's ideal. Obviously, it's, that's not an easy thing to do. But when you can, that definitely can help. That should still give you a ton of experience. You went from level 1 all the way up to level 8 in one match. That was a level 1 character that you just took for your first plat mission. So I think, we have to acknowledge that that was really difficult, what you just did, and we still managed to finish the mission. You still got some good XP, and should have gotten a pretty nice sum of credits there, which should be quite helpful as well. So well done. And you now know what Platinum is like. And, obviously, as we were saying before, that was a level 1 character, and it was also your first time playing that character. But if you were to, say, go back to using that Destroyer, or rather Juggernaut, that you were using before, who is a higher level and is probably a better character in general, then, that probably would have been easier to do. So, basically, you just did Platinum on the hardest way possible, and we still won. And so, going forward, hopefully you can get stronger with your character's levels, you can get better equipment for your weapons, all that stuff. You'll get more used to playing those characters, more used to playing on higher difficulties, all that stuff. So, I would think that it would only get easier in the future. Well done for doing it when it was just about as hard as it can get. But with that being said, we have been going for a while, and it is getting pretty late, so I think it does make sense for us to make that our last one of the night. And it's a pretty good note for us to end on there. Just wish we had a split second longer, of course, to get you back up at the end. But GG. GG's, guys. Well played, everybody. Glad we could get you in today, Dalton. We are, for you and for everyone who's hanging out in chat today, well, I guess we'll talk more about this in a minute, but we are doing these Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer streams on Friday nights like this, every Friday night. I'm gonna hop out of the lobby. I have already hopped out of the lobby. Just pick up a little bit of stuffs with my credits as well. I have recently, only fairly recently, unlocked all of the weapon and character upgrades. Characters was quicker, but at this point we're mostly just doing this to get more consumables, which is still helpful, but it's just not as dramatic as, say, Dalton getting the Juggernaut early on, which was huge. That is pretty awesome that you got that guy. And hopefully with the credits you got from that mission just then, might be able to get some good stuff from that too. So it's it's just the beginning is obviously the hardest from almost every perspective, almost every angle. You don't have every character's level 1, you don't have good weapons yet, you're not used to the higher difficulties, but if you can just get 1 or 2 of those things to start working in your favor more, like, oh hey, I got a really good character early on, that just helps so much. Oh hey, I got 1 or 2 really solid weapons, awesome. Then you can use those to more easily do the types of missions that we just did. And then that just accelerates your process and probably also makes it a little more, it's certainly smoother and potentially more enjoyable for that reason, depending on how much you're into the whole dramatic missions where, everyone only just barely makes it through by the skin of their teeth versus just, a cakewalk and crushing it. Obviously, I suppose, to an extent, a matter of personal preference. Alright, but as I was saying, I think it makes sense for us to wrap things up here, because we've been going for a little while, and it is getting quite late, so I'm going to throw this screen on. I'm going to hop out of Discord before I forget. As I was briefly mentioning before, this, of course, was our Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer stream, and our streaming schedule is that typically on Thursday nights, we're doing Path of Exile 2. That's sort of the one that's the most subject to change. But then Friday nights, we're doing this, Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. Then tomorrow, Saturdays, we're doing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. So you can check out even more Mass Effect stuff in the near future. And then on Sundays, we do Pyre multiplayer. And then if you liked the stream, then of course you can hit the like button to support the stream. You can also hit the subscribe button to more easily stay up to date on those various things that we are doing. But the best way to do that is actually by joining my Discord, which you can do by clicking on that link right there. But that's going to be it for me for tonight, so thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll catch you next time.